Good morning, everybody. Today we are here to discuss about the constitutional law of India, wherein we are going to deal with in detail about the making of constitution. Historical background. So far as historical background is concerned, we will be discussing about the developments that has taken place in 1600 because Britishers came or entered in our country with the trade purpose. Now, gradually, when the charters, through various charters, they got the powers to make rules for the governance of East India Company. Previously, when they entered into our country, it was only for the sake of trade purposes, and they were making the rules and regulations only for the those who are in the East India Company. But gradually, with the Charter of 1726, Mears Court was established in our country, and through different incidents that took place, like Battle of Plassey, wherein the death of Aurangzeb, where completely British people took advantage of this situation, and gradually they started having civil administration in the country in the form of Diwani rights. So it was civil justice administration, and they were only responsible for collection of revenues also. Then the another development phase was about when in India it was the period of 1858, where the company's rule in India was transferred from of to a transfer of government of India to the British Crown. So the power was totally now vested in British Crown, and gradually the different acts which were brought by the British Crown, those were responsible for making certain administration in the country. The Indian Governments Act then into reforms in 1909 was an attempt to introduce a type of representative form or responsible form of government in India. Basically, while we are discussing about the making the important statutes which were responsible, or two important acts which were responsible for this constitutional development, were 1919 and 1935 Government of India Act, wherein the present day's constitution has various, rather you can say various things which are there in today's constitution, seen even in the Government of India Act, the provisions of Government of India Act 1935 and 1990. So far as the introduction of self-government is concerned, then responsible government, the provincial autonomy which was being given at the because of the diarchy system, as well as federal and provincial legislatures. This kind of distribution of power which we find today in our constitution, wherein we are having a central list, state list, as well as the concurrent list. Same was even applicable at that time also. It was a legislative powers distribution. So all these things we will look into in detail about 1919 and 1935, which are directly responsible to the making of today's constitution. Then came then the situation in 1948. 42, sorry, I'm sorry, 42. 42 was such wherein the Cripps mission plan, or rather the Cripps mission has entered into, and they have forwarded the proposals like taking steps to set up a electing body for framing the new constitution immediately after the war. Wherein 1939, the World War was started. With that particular World War, India was reluctant to participate into, and for that purpose, making Indian people to participate in that World War, they have given a proposal. I'm sorry, they have given a proposal that they will be taking steps to set up an elected body for framing the new constitution. As well, British government undertake to accept and implement the constitution so framed subject to wish as per the wish of provinces. Indians were not satisfied with the Cripps mission proposals, and they found that they had the proposal itself was having the seats of separation or the partition of country. Now the next phase is a cabinet mission plan 1946, wherein the paramountcy of the crown was totally lapsed. So the basic important phase, which was really important from the point of view of getting independence to the country, was in the cabinet mission plan after the World War was ended, and after United Nations organization was also developed in 1945. Britishers, they started thinking that now they cannot stay in this country, and they were to they will have to hand over the governance to Indian people. So it was a very important phase, and cabinet mission plan was also successful also, which has also accepted elections to the Constituent Assembly, which is very important phase in the making of constitution. So for the purposes of framing the new constitution, the Constituent Assembly was to be elected with the plan. Then came the Indian Independence Act 1947, wherein the basic important thing that happened with this particular act of 1947 was India and Pakistan became two independent dominions from 15th of August 1947, and the Constituent Assemblies were empowered to frame laws for their own respective territories till the new constitution came into force. So now that country, totally two different countries were there, where the lapse of British paramountcy was also important phase, and the drafting of new constitution process was started after this 1947 Indian Independence Act. Whereas the process of constitution drafting can be stressed with different stages. The stage started even before Independence Act 1947, as the Cabinet Mission Plan came into being in 1946. The members were elected by the Provincial Assembly by indirect election. Out of 296, 211 were won by Congress party, and 73 were even won by the Muslim League. So Constituent Assembly, previously it was having 299 members, but it was not a sovereign body. This is very important aspect to be remembered. It became only sovereign when we got the independence in 1947, on 15th of August 1947. The Assembly adopted the Constitution on 26th of November 1949, but it came into effect on 26th of Jan 1950. We'll look how this is very important to be remembered by all the students is this. We always, many students always get confused as to who was the chairman of drafting committee and who was the permanent chairman of the Constituent Assembly. So Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was the chairman of the drafting committee, and Mr. Rajendra Prasad was the permanent chairman of the Constituent Assembly. The first meeting of the Constituent Assembly was held on 9th of December 1946, and there were 7 members in this drafting committee, which was chaired by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. This draft constitution, the draft constitution which was prepared by them, it was published in January 1948, and when this was to be a basic law of the land, they have given 8 months period for suggestions to the people at large. People at large, they provided 7,635 amendments, out of which nearly 2,473 amendments were actually discussed in this assembly. They hold nearly 11 sessions, and this was the period which they have exhausted for making this draft constitution. The exact constitution was 2 years, 11 months and 18 days. So the Constituent Assembly worked in a very systematic, open and consensual manner. Next issue is about 2 dates. One date is a date when we adopted the constitution. It is 26th of November 1949. And this constitution has got a commencement date, that is 26th of January 1950. Why this is so? This is so because the legal significance has been given to this constitution when it was totally signed and it was being operated, and hence it is called as a commencement date. Now, why do we need constitution? Basically, though we say that it is a law of land, but the need for having a constitution in the country is only because we wanted to live as together as equals. See, the social disparity in our country is such, whereas we will find that there is certain class who is privileged class, certain class who is underprivileged class. People wanted to have a very orderly state. They wanted to maintain law and order. Also, the government's power has to be limited one. And to safeguard the interest of all the people and give special protections to the vulnerable, we do need a constitution. Also, to have the civil, political and economic, social, cultural rights, we need our constitution. Now, though we have come up to how this constitution was being drafted, how it was being made, the basic question stands, that is, what is exactly the constitution? Constitution means a body of fundamental principles, established principles, precedents to which a state is acknowledged to be governed. It is a document having a legal sanctity which sets out and framework the principal functions of the organs of state. Now, when we discuss about the organs of state, they are three in number. One is executive, the other is legislature, and the third one is judiciary. The principal functions of these three organs of the state and the framework within which they are expected to work is being given by the document called the Constitution. Now, if it is a constitution, then what is constitutional law? Constitutional law is a body of law which defines the roles and powers and structures of different entities within a state, namely executive, judiciary, and the legislature, as well as the basic rights of citizens. So constitutional law is that law which is going to give safeguards to all the basic rights of the citizens of this country, and it is held to be as a source of law because the whole legal system emanates on the basis of this constitution of the country. Now, dear students, we have completed over here. We'll stop sharing this slide because we'll be dealing with the next aspect, that is regarding the nature of constitution. So I end my presentation over here.